Lots of news brewing right now across news wires and news outlets. Davante Adams wants to see Tom Brady come out of retirement and play for the Raiders. This is just a desire of his, not that there's anything brewing on the Tom Brady side of this thing, but we have heard this before. Tom Brady, could he come back? Tom Brady himself saying wouldn't rule it out. Even when probed on this very topic, Tom Brady said, when asked what teams might he potentially, goes, Raiders. He threw out Raiders. And the Raiders would have to be winning for him to come back, because Tom Brady's not coming back to a losing situation. Very interesting that this is all surfacing as all the Davante Adams interviews and footage of him talking about whether he wants to be in an LV, whether he doesn't want to be an LV. Does he want to be in New York playing with Aaron Rodgers? Does he want to play with Tom Brady? Obviously, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers would do wonders for Davante Adams' value. Pipe dream? Probably. But in the realm of possibility, yes, because Tom Brady himself is not shooting down the idea of coming back. I know everybody's very quick to say, oh, this is not going to happen. I don't know what it is about people not wanting to accept the reality that Tom Brady is not shut down coming back. It's something to do with hating Tom Brady. It's something to do with fandom. Your own team that you're supporting, you can't envision Tom Brady coming back. You don't want it, so you come out firing as if this is a fairy tale. I can't stand when people don't have an open mind to something the player himself is not shutting down. So you start running your mouth on that, you're going to be taking laps early on this show today. Okay? Let me just say that right up front. We've got Davante Adams news, Tom Brady news. We've got Malik Nabers being compared to by teammates as the next Jamar Chase, the fantasy football show. And we're going to talk about whether that expectation is going to get, unfortunately, not met this season, or will it? The fantasy football show, that fantasy football show, the Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. edition show begins right now. I don't know what happened there. Let's try that one more time.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
We got a lot of laps to hand out from the jump. Like this one, Will. No offense, Will, but you don't know what you're talking about on this topic, because Tom Brady's the one giving up the Raiders as the team he would want to come back for most of all. He suggests this team when anybody has the conversation. They go, what about if he goes, Raiders? What about if the Bucks Raiders? So, Will, let's send Will on a lap immediately. Now, there's a lot of moving parts to Tom Brady coming back and playing football. We know that there's the whole ownership concerns, the commentating, the contract. Doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's still a topic that we don't have the ability to put our kung fu grip around to comprehend. We just know that it's in the realm of possibility for Tom Brady. He's been asked several times, do you want to come back? Would you come back? What team? What if so-and-so? Raiders? He said the Raiders? What? He always gives the Raiders up as the team he would want to potentially come back and play for. So, look, Davante Adams is definitely, hoping for this if he does stay in LV. If he doesn't stay in LV, he wants to go to New York. He's made that abundantly clear. But this is just a pipe dream scenario. But it is funny and ridiculous how many people can't stand having this conversation. And they act as though they know what's going on. They've got everything everything figured out up in their own head. Yeah, no, this can't happen. Why are we talking about this again? Tom Brady can't return? There's no way in my mind it could ever happen. I'm gonna go ahead and get real upset, Smitty. I'm gonna get real upset. There's no way Tom Brady... Please, I have nightmares still of Tom Brady. This can't happen. That's what it's really about. That's what it's really about. You come out saying that this is not worth even to have a conversation about. It's because you don't want it to. Not because you don't think it can happen. You don't want it to happen. You're having nightmares still of Tom Brady or something. Get over it. Tom might want to come back. That's all you need to know. So Davante Adams having this candid conversation. Very interesting one at that. Very interesting. I would be shocked if Davante Adams was on the Raiders roster by the deadline come this season. This is definitely something CBS is pushing this out. Ryan Harris talking about this on CBS, NFL on CBS. And he even went as far as to say, and I didn't want to put it in the headline because this is quite out there. And he's like, do the Jets want Adams bad enough? Do they want to win a Super Bowl bad enough? Would they surrender Garrett Wilson for Davante Adams? And I about lost it. You're not trading Garrett Wilson, a young, rising star wide receiver, for a 31 turning 32-year-old player. So everything that was said on this NBC or the CBS on NFL interview report, whatever, was thrown out the window for me. The moment you start saying weird things like, do they want to win bad enough? Would they trade Garrett Wilson for Davante Adams? Should they do that? Maybe they do that. This conversation was out the window for me, like a bunch of garbage. But everybody's continuing to perpetuate the narrative that Davante Adams is not going to be an LV come trade deadline, come week 5, come week 4, come week 7. And I tend to agree with that. And I've talked about this several times over and over and over, that if the Raiders, they're not doing anything now, they want to see if they can win. Of course they want to see if they can win. Why would they not want to see if they can win? They believe in what they're doing. We know that it's probably not going to be all that successful. But I'm trying to think if I locked the front door on Miss Smitty. Ziggy, show me the front door. Oh, Miss Smitty's going to be upset. We have a latch, and I think I might have latched it. Okay, I did. Ziggy off. Thank God. It's going to start hearing the cracking at the door. Just where was I at? Yeah, so Adams is either going to be, this is my assessment. This is my assessment before we even got into the conversation of this report, that report, other people getting, weighing in on it. This is from me. This is coming from me before any of this. That my assessment is this. The Raiders think they can win. They like Pierce. They think they're going to fight for Pierce. They crap the bed hardcore diarrhea style in the draft trying to grab a quarterback. They watched Penix Jr. get taken from them. They watched Bo Nix get taken from them. They didn't get aggressive and go get their destiny. They sat back and waited. Maybe we'll get Nix. Maybe Penix Jr. will fall. When I told them that neither one would. Every single day. We came in here doing a draft episode. Penix Jr. is a top 10 overall pick. Remember after the championship game? Oh, Penix Jr. might not even be a first rounder. What did your boy Smitty say every single day? Just wait and see. And the Raiders crapped the bed. I think it's a matter of time before they have a moment of reality where they say, reality check, we have to get rid of Davante Adams. He's turning 32 years old by the end of the season, during the season, and we're going to send him packing to the New York Jets. So the New York Football Jets most likely will have Davante Adams if he's traded. Adams is trying to tell you, if I don't get traded and Tom Brady wants to come back, I'm fine with that scenario as well. So there's that. Isn't Tom Brady an upgrade from what the Raiders are settling with now? So why not, says Robert. The only problem with the thinking of Brady coming back later is that if this team is losing, he's not going to want to return to not make the playoffs. And my fear is that this team, even if Gardner Minshew is able to scrape by, I don't know that they're going to be 5-2. Maybe they are. Maybe they somehow, some way become that team that we don't know how they got there, but they're 6-2. They're 5-1, and then Tom Brady walks right in. I know there's a lot of variables involved, but these are Tom Brady's wishes potentially buried underneath a whole lot of other things. He doesn't know whether he wants to play or not. He's made that abundantly clear. We've seen how many people retire and come back. Jordan, this happens all the time. This not like Tom Brady has not shut the door on this like he was a year and a half ago. Now he's saying, I don't know what the future will hold. Maybe the Raiders? He's constantly giving up and surrendering the Raiders. I don't know. It's a fun conversation to have. I think if Tom Brady were to return and somehow, some way the Raiders were 5-2, 6-2, 7-2, 7-3, what if they're even 8-4? And at that stage, and I don't think they can do that with Minshew in AOC, but you never know. Maybe Tom Brady steps in when things are not spiraling out of control. If they skate by to a 5-2 start, Tom might walk right in. It's possible. But I think if I had to guess, Adams is either in LV or something weird like that's happening. I can't see Adams. Adams is going to lose it. Adams is going to pack it in and say he's injured and wait until next season if he doesn't get traded to the New York Jets if this Raiders team looks as bad as I think they're going to look. That's my problem. New Age dropping a $50 bold prediction. Look at him coming in strong with a $50 holler. My man says bold prediction. Tom Brady will win a Super Bowl as a coach or player. Been waiting to do the perfect show for it. Thank you, New Age. Tom Brady will win a Super Bowl as a coach or player. So you're saying that he's either going to win one more Super Bowl as a player or he'll win one as a coach. Is that what you're trying to say? The only problem with this prediction is a 2024 prediction. So can you tweak that? We know he's not going to be a coach this year. So retweak your prediction and I'll put it back on the board. So 2024 prediction. Appreciate you dropping that $50 bold prediction holler.
$50. Give me $50 holler. Get by the brother Smitty. Give me $50. Oh, yeah.
So we'll wait for you to tweak that prediction. Appreciate you. But coach this year. What do you mean coach this year, though? Maybe clarify on that. Or just say you say he wins the Super Bowl this year. Tom Brady wins his Super Bowl this year. Okay, Cheryl dropping a $10 holler. Says, hey, Smitty, I know how much we like Joe Burrow, so I'm curious on your thoughts on the mixed messages, at least that I hear elsewhere, on his wrist issues. What are your thoughts on the risk injury level? I'm not too worried about it. I think a lot of people are trying to I don't know, make a name for themselves in the sports world, walking into fantasy football with a medical background, which is fine and dandy, okay? But I think a lot of people overstep their bounds in terms of trying to implement that knowledge on the fantasy football landscape when they're brand new to the fantasy football landscape, or they're 2 or 3 years into it or something. I'd rather, and this is coming biasly from me because, I'm the one that I'm suggesting you listen to on the injury stuff, but I'd rather trust somebody that's learned the medical stuff, especially the stuff that relates to players, with the 23 years of applying that knowledge. I'm not saying that there's no risk involved, but there's a lot of people saying some pretty ridiculous things about Joe Burrow, like he'll never be the same, he'll never be able to throw or grip the ball the same, he's going to have 30% of his strength gone. There's a lot of weird accusations about his wrist. I think Joe Burrow comes with a lot of inherent risk anyway. There's a lot of risk there with Joe. He started off slow before. As much as we love him as a person, as a player, as an icon, as a cigar smoking man, this is definitely somebody that comes with a barrel full of risk, whether it's slow starts, injuries to him, injuries to players on the team, Jamar Chase, so forth. So at the end of the day, as much as I love Joe Burrow, I am drafting AR5 over him. I do believe JD5, who I have Joe Burrow and JD5 on a dynasty team, 1 QB. I do believe JD5 will take his job on my fantasy football roster. Maybe not in week 1. But I'm not concerned initially. There's certainly risk. I'm not saying that this particular case, people don't have a leg to stand on when they start talking about his specific wrist injury. But at the same time, we heard a lot of things about Brock Purdy never really truly getting his full strength back. That was a non-factor. No one's even mentioning that anymore. A lot of people ran their mouth about that risk constantly. So at the end of the day, I'm not too concerned. But he is naturally an injury risk anyway. Yeah, Super Bowl, I meant owner or player. Okay. So New Age Outlaws is saying Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl here, right now, 2024. Whether it's as a part of an ownership, so saying the Raiders, or he's saying he comes back and wins it as a quarterback. I think that's the only shot you have. I don't think that this Raiders team can win a Super Bowl without Tom Brady at the helm. Now, Tom Brady at the helm would be very, very intriguing. It's a much different team. You take Davante Adams, Brock Bowers, Zeus, Zamir White, and you mix in Tom Brady with a pretty decent defense. This is a whole different team. That's why the Raiders are ridiculous and why I think Pierce almost has his job on the line right now, because he had one job to do. This is a good team. This is a really good team that needed a coach, a player's coach, and that is Pierce. Pierce fits the bill for being a motivator in chief. He's a player's coach. But all they needed was a QB. That's all they needed. You got 1 to 1.5, maybe 2 years if you're lucky. If you're so lucky lightning strikes, you got literally 1 to 2 years of potentially playing like a near elite player. Let's call it 1.5 years. You got Brock Bowers, could be the best tight end prospect to ever come out of college. You got Zeus Zamir White, who with a good quarterback and offensive, scheme, a good passing attack, stretching the field, keeping defenses honest, finally not seeing 8-man front after 8-man front. You got a team that can move the ball down the field. Let me make a abundantly clear point here. The Raiders, if they had gotten Penix Jr., the Raiders, if they had, I don't even want to say Bo Nix because he's still a project, even though I like him a lot. You got Justin Fields comes over and becomes the guy we thought he could have been if the Chicago Bears had raised him right. You bring in a QB like Dak Prescott in a trade because he holds his destiny in his hands. If he doesn't want, if they don't want to sign him to a long-term deal, if Jerry's world doesn't want to come to the conclusion that Dak is the future, they could trade him and he could waive his no-trade clause because he would get a long-term deal. You don't go somewhere and not get that extension, right? So Dak would get his extension and waive his no-trade clause, and he would be an absolute gem over an LV. LV would be a contender. I don't know that I would say they win a Super Bowl, but LV would be a contender if Dak was throwing to Adams and Bowers and he had Zeus in a defense. We're talking about a totally different team. Pierce shit the bed hard. Harder than the Niners crapped the bed with the whole offseason Ayuk situation. Almost as bad, not as bad as the New York Giants decision-making team. That is a debacle. Joe Shane should be ashamed of himself. Joe Shane is probably the worst decision-maker I've seen in pro football in a long time. This guy's an absolute imbecile when it comes to making personnel decisions. So Joe Shane, you maybe take the cake, okay? But Pierce crapped the bed hardcore. You need a Tom Brady in order for this to work. You need a Dak Prescott in order for this to work. So that's why I say Tom Brady either has to luck out in this team somehow, some way, if Tom Brady was to come back again. You can get mad all you want about this topic. You're only showing your true colors, that you don't have an open mind to even have a discussion that's being had and rumors being spread around. Doesn't mean I made the rumors. Doesn't mean I believe them to come true. It means that they're out there and they deserve to be talked about. Tom Brady is the one not shooting all this down whenever he's asked if he's coming back. So that's on you if this pisses you off. This conversation makes you mad because internally your team got blasted by Tom Brady and you just can't stand to hear him talked about. Why are we talking about this again, Smitty? Tom Brady's not coming back. I know he's not coming back. Who in the chat's already said that? Who in the chat has already said that, besides probably John? New Age, appreciate you dropping your bold prediction. $50 holler. Let's go.
$50 holla. Give me $50 holla. I get by the brother Smitty. Give me $50. Oh, yeah.
New Age, Outlaws, Tom Brady, Super Bowl 2024. Smash it. Do it live. Appreciate you. We got it on the board, baby. We got it on the board. Thank you, Cheryl, for the question. And again, the answer to the Joe Burrow situation is there's definitely risk. I don't think there's risk as much in his wrist as there is just in general with Joe. And he's had a lot of injuries. So you got to, at some point, as much as we love him, and we'll still draft him, he's a steal in round 7. Especially, 6, 7, where you could cuff him to another QB and have good production, good upside, and you grab a JD5 and a Joe Burrow. That's fantastic. But yeah, there is some risk built in, and I think you got to account for that. Thank you, New Age, again for the $50 hauler. We have another super chat here from TM42. Man, I haven't seen a TM42 super chatter message come in for a while. Where you been, pal? Good to see you, broski. Sup, Smitty? It's been a while, but I can't wait for the season to start. Who are your favorite late Superflex QBs like Love last year? That's right. TM42 may have won a championship or two off of your boys' Superflex advice. The Superflex videos coming really soon. And you remember the league I think closed down that I won back-to-back last year and the year prior? Back-to-back championships. I did a live stream of the draft. I said, this is how you win a Superflex. Let me show you firsthand live how to smash experts in a Superflex draft. And it was via Jordan Love. We're doing the same thing this year. Penix Jr. and Cousins, if it's Dynasty. If it's not Dynasty, if you can get Cousins later, then Penix Jr. and Cousins does fit the bill. But in Dynasty, Cousins and Penix Jr. is gold as your QB2. People are too afraid to draft Penix too high because he's not the starter, and people are too afraid to draft Cousins high because he's older and an injury-prone guy that has a expiration date. So it's a genius Dynasty move. In terms of redraft, it is Russell Wilson and Justin Fields and Penix Jr. Like the trio of those guys as your QB2 is a fantastic prospect. Appreciate you, TM, dropping the super chat. My man. Okay, let's get on over to this other piece of news. So again, Adams, is CBS saying they'd be shocked if Adams is on the Raiders offense come trade deadline. That's something that I talked about because I think they'll be losing at that point. Again, Tom Brady is a desire of his to come back and play football. That's a wild situation, but it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility if let's say the team was winning. Davante Adams says that he's better than Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill, which is, look, I don't know that that's that crazy to say though. Has he been? Is he right now? No. But I understand where he's coming from mentally, and he has been as good prior to wanting to leave Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers' side. His downfall is getting greedy and wanting to go elsewhere and prove himself without Aaron Rodgers. He wanted to separate himself from Aaron Rodgers, and this is where it went downhill for him. So, unfortunately, this is kind of one of those situations where you're like, okay, Adams, this doesn't really feel like it's legit anymore. Like, why are you saying this now? You've screwed it all up. Adams is the one that wanted to depart from what was working. And while at one point he was as good, he really was. He was a top 3 wide receiver in the National Football League. I don't think you can make that claim anymore. I don't think you can make that claim at all. As far as the Malik Nabers and Jamar Chase comparison, this is coming from a teammate, Darius Slayton, okay? So Darius Slayton thinks Malik Nabers is like a clone of Bengals star wide receiver Jamar Chase. Honestly, in my opinion, he reminds me of Jamar Chase. It's like a clone. Malik's about 6 foot. They're about the same size. High praise for the Giants rookie, according to this report right here. I know this is going to excite some people. So one of the main reasons we're talking about this now, unfortunately for everybody that thought Smitty was going to come in and say, we're going to put him on the Moon Man list. This is great. This is only good because it raises his value in a year where I don't necessarily want to draft him anyway. I like Malik Nabers. If he was going in the late 3rd round, I'd be on board. I'd smash the hell out of that value. I'd take Malik Nabers in almost every draft if he was a 3-4 turn player. The problem is he's been floating at 25 overall all offseason long. And the fact that you have this report and other reports right now, and then people getting excited off the reports, and then they'll create content on top of that, it's going to be like a freight train. It's going to be a snowball effect. And his 27, 26, 25 ADP is going to climb into 19, 18, 20. And maybe it doesn't climb much higher than that, but I do think he breaches into the bottom of round 2 because the hype train is getting out of control. There's no quarterback situation. There's no way for him to live in the red zone. Danny Dimes not only has never produced a top 25 wide receiver ever, Danny Dimes also vultures anything close to the goal line. There's just no path for this. There's no way we should be drafting him anywhere near a territory that is a second drafted player. And I mean that at 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, anywhere near being a second drafted player. Even if it was your third drafted player, but back-to-back picks at 24, 25, he doesn't belong there. In fact, I'll go as far as to say this, even though I just said tail end of the third, I don't want him until 4.1. My line in the sand, even though I might nudge my plan aside and take him at 3.11 if I thought I could make the fourth rounder work the same way and grab that player later and he still fall. Draft Mahomes or draft McBride, or I'm drafting Josh Jacobs, or I'm taking somebody I know is going to be there, ETN. Then I could see myself fudging the numbers a little bit just to take him at 3.11. But for the most part, we can't take Malik Nabers as even a mid-third round player. A third drafted player you're taking in the middle of 3. It doesn't make any sense. The path to 10 touchdowns is almost non-existent. The path to a bunch of targets, yes, is very much there. But catchable balls, it's going to be a low conversion rate. It could be a big yardage year. It could be a lot of hospital balls, which puts the injury risk level a lot higher than we'd like it for Nabers. Nabers is more likely to get injured because of the hospital balls that he'll be fed. This is not good news in my mind, other than it makes people draft a player I was already out on given the ADP. It makes them draft the player higher. And Nabers may, if he climbs into 2, he'll be on the Planet Uranus list for 2024. That does not mean that I do not like Nabers for the future. It does not mean I don't think he's a stud. It does not mean you get to come back in 2025 when he blows up and say, Smitty, I told you Nabers was going to be good. You didn't tell me. I told you. We told you Nabers will be good. It's just not happening right away. But he's good. We like him. We love him. We're not against Nabers. We're not. We're just realists about the situation. You got to look at the reality of the situation. Nabers has nobody throwing him the football. You've got to liken this to Garrett Wilson last year. How good's Garrett Wilson? He's top 10. He's top 10. He's top 10. He's top 5 to 10. How good was Garrett Wilson with no quarterback? Not good. Not anywhere near where he could be. This is Garrett Wilson. Unfortunately, last year's version of Garrett Wilson is Nabers. It's unfortunate. Okay. Where are we at here? Saints, this is kind of odd. Saints wide receiver was placed on reserve non-football injury list. We'll see what there is to make of this. Sometimes the especially the NFI list, when players go on that, it's a non-factor at this point. Sometimes the teams do it and players are even, obviously present and working out and all that. They do it from a logistics standpoint. They're able to look at a few rookies a little bit longer. They're able to keep more players around. It's a strategic move sometimes, the NFI list and the reserve non-football injury list. So keep that in mind. But that is something to monitor. We need to make sure we know what is up. Derek Lincoln, you're my boy, Blue, but we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one. Nabers is doing it this year. That's where Smitty has it wrong. That's definitely a take, Derek. But I think the evidence gonna have a little bit less evidence on your side of the fence on this one, because you're going off pure, I own him in Dynasty, or I forget if you're a Giants fan or not, but you own him in Dynasty, so you want him to explode. You need him to explode. That's the evidence you bring to the table. I can bring you actual, tangible things that you need to be concerned about. The explosion that he has, the ability he has, his amazing hands. These are all great things, but you've got to have the football thrown to you. You have to have quarterbacks that can statistically deliver the ball to you. You have none of those things present here. None of them. So it's going to be an unbelievable, tough, tall order for you to get back 25 overall value. Think about what we're arguing here, Derek. We're arguing that Nabers is worth a below 25 overall pick. You're arguing right now, because this is what I'm arguing, that he's worth drafting in the second round, Derek. And if you're going to draft Nabers in the second round, I think you're going to be on an island by yourself. I think a majority of the people in here are also want nothing to do with Nabers in the second round. Anybody that wants Nabers in the second round, I'm sending you on a lap. I don't care if it's Derek Lincoln. I love you, pal. I'm sending anybody on a lap that thinks Nabers is worth a second round pick. And if you're trying to argue something with me, that's the argument here. We're not talking about anything later. We're not talking about him earning 40 overall value. We're talking about being a second drafted player. You can't have it. It's take a lap worthy, Derek. I'm sorry, Derek. I don't think we've sent Derek on a lap in a long, long time. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate you dropping the $5 holler. Adam, my guy. Where are we at? Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. Cheryl with one more $5 holler says, one more. What are your thoughts on current ADP for these wide receivers? Christian Kirk, don't like him at all. Not even going near him. 4th round, 5th round, no thank you. There's so many. It's not about hating him. It's just so many better players in the 4th round. Now, does he go around 6 in a mom and pop draft? Then I don't mind that. That's probably pretty baked in. But we've seen him in underdog go 4 or 5 turn. It's crazy. Amari Cooper, same thing. If he goes in round 5, then I'm okay with it. If he goes in round 3, 4, and I've seen it. It's happened. It's ridiculously high. George Pickens, same thing. I can't stand taking Pickens in 4.1, but I love him at like 5.8. So these ADPs are all over the map, especially across platforms, especially off non-best ball versus best ball. So there's like 8 conversations we're having here because they're all different value. Calvin Ridley, pretty decent for the value. Like if you're getting him as your 5th to 6th drafted player, it's good. He's not going in 4. He's going in 5 sometimes. Sometimes you get him in 6. The later you get, the more you're packaging the risk. Worthy in round 6, 7 is great. That's, of course, dependent on whether you're in a mom and pop league or a best ball league. You take him in 5, it's huge mistake territory. You take him as a 6th or 7th round pick, then there's some upside there, but there's certainly risk. I think the highest ranked, the best value, if Pickens is going in 5, I love that. If Ridley's going in 6, I love that. If Worthy's going, those are probably the 2 best picks of these 2. Cooper in 5, I like that. They're all very, very close, but none of them deserve 4th round value at all in my mind. And that's where I draw the line, where I don't draft a lot of these guys because they in best ball, because wide receivers get consumed at such a high rate too early, way too early. People are stealing wide receivers from the 3rd round and bringing them into round 2. Like the 4th round, none of those guys belong in the 4th round. None of them. Absolutely none of them. None of them. 1,105. That wouldn't warrant second drafted player value, Derek. I don't think you're paying attention today, but that's okay. 1,105 ain't giving you top 23, 24 overall value, Derek. You can't draft that guy there. How do I feel about Nabers in Dynasty, though? I love him. I love him. With the quarterback, if the Giants didn't have freaking Joe Shane, probably one of the most inept people making decisions for a football team right now, you would have a good quarterback slinging the rock to Nabers. Derek, but that's fine, but I don't think you're paying attention to the topic. No one's saying he can't breach 1,000 yards, have 4 or 5 touchdowns. Like, the whole show is about he doesn't belong in the top 2 rounds, Derek. Christopher, appreciate you, my guy. Nabers top 3 in Dynasty. I don't know about top 3 overall, but I would say that, he's got the 5 to 10 wide receiver potential, but he needs a quarterback. He needs a quarterback big time. Mike Williams, Jets placed Mike Williams ACL on the active PUP. This guy's he was never meant to return to form. Malachi Corley, then you got the Davante Adams rumors. This could fuel more Davante Adams rumors, though, if Mike Williams, let's say, has setbacks and they never think he's going to be back to par. Cleveland Plain Dealer reporting that Nick Chubb ACL is expected to begin training camp on the PUP, the active PUP. There's some thought that he could be borderline ready for some play in week 1, 2, 3, or 4. But keep in mind, this guy it's a far stretch to consider him ever to return to form. Doesn't matter if you're squatting 600 pounds. It's a very different thing. I've got bad knees. I wouldn't last a day out on an NFL field, cutting left and right laterally, getting hit while I'm cutting, all the things a running back endures. But I could go out and max squat something, and look like, this Smitty looks pretty healthy. Look at him out there doing up and down squatting. Like, it doesn't matter. Not to mention the video footage of him lifting 600 pounds is reckless. And if I had to say there was a risk of damage to a player that he had his ACL, he had his surgery well over 8 months ago, the initial one, but he had his ACL surgery in November. They had to do 2 different surgeries. His knee was so jacked up. Instead of bending like this, his knee bent exactly left angle, a right angle, and tore everything. And he had to have a separate ACL surgery in late November, early December, I believe it was. So he's not that far recovered. The fact that he's doing 600-pound max squats is stupid. It's stupidity. It's he's definitely injuring and damaging his knee doing that. You're not doing any good max squatting 600 pounds, 1 to 2 reps. There's no sense in doing that. It's ridiculous. His leg was shaking a little bit, as it should be. But this is not a player. It's Jerome Ford's season. I don't know to what extent, but Nick Chubb is somebody I don't hate, somebody grabbing late in double-digit rounds in a best ball draft where you don't have to necessarily start him or not start him. But this is a reckless pick if you're taking him, expecting him to be a bounce back, top 5 to 10 running back this year. It's just not going to happen. Not at his age with his extensive knee injury history. And then we talked about this earlier. Trey Benson going to the mother freaking moon, if not actually Mars. We got him on the Marsman list. We've had him on the Marsman list for a long time now. This 4.3 speed running back / pass catcher that has never fumbled the football at the college level. His whole entire career in college, never fumbled the football once. 4.3 speed. This is a marvel. This is a potential league winner. This is a guy going and redrafted in the 7th and 8th round. And this is a guy that, yes, he doesn't have the starting job from week 1, but they drafted him to be the future. And James Conner is 29 years old. And it's going to be an absolute marvelous day for all of you that draft this kid, stash him on your bench, wait and let the sleeping giant sleep until it's time for him to awake and create havoc for everybody in his way. This is a speedster in an offense where defenses have to focus on Kyler Murray, especially Kyler Murray, who rolls outside the pocket and throws the football. Kyler doesn't just roll to run. He rolls to throw. and therefore you're spying him. You're taking an extra defender following Kyler Murray around the field. Defenses cannot be preoccupied with where Trey Benson is. It doesn't even matter if Trey has a big game. The next game, you got to occupy yourself with where is Kyler Murray. Trey's going to be ripping off amazing runs, mismatches with his 4.3 speed, and this is a top 10 running back per start, and it's just a matter of how many starts you get out of it. Trey going to the motherfucker.
Mashed potatoes.
Trey Benson, baby. We've got a whole show on Trey Benson. Phone lines are open. Dial into the show. The Grindhouse, the formerly Grindhouse, the Attic.shop phone lines.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in, dial in, dial in. Love to have a conversation about any of these things, including Tom Brady, which it almost excites me that it pisses people off that they can't have a candid conversation about a player that refuses to shut down the idea of coming back. Just because you don't want him to come back doesn't mean he won't come back. Tom Brady, if he wants to come back, he'll do everything in his power to come back and play football. A lot of moving parts to it as he's laid out before. You know, will he be allowed to come back? All those things. The commentating, does he have an itch to do it? You know, his life has changed since he left. He mainly walked away for family reasons, and that family dynamic has changed tremendously. And there's still a shot. And I wouldn't even say a shot in hell. There's still a shot that this man wants to come back and play football. So we'll have to see. It's a wild conversation, but we will see. LV12, yeah, LV12. I mean, I can kind of see that, bro. I can kind of see it. I don't know. It'll be a wild day for the people that did not want it. You know what's going to happen from the haters that say, "Oh, Tom Brady, he's not coming back. Why are we having this conversation? He's not coming back." These people that can't even have the conversation. You know what they're going to shift to at the moment he comes back and we say, "Hey, remember when you said that?" They won't answer the question. They'll just be like, "Okay, what am I doing now?" He's going to be bad. He's going to be bad. You watch. He's not going to be able to play anymore. He's old. This doesn't make any sense. This is stupid. That's what it's going to resort to. The people that can't have the conversation will resort to that next because they won't be able to handle the situation. They won't be able to handle it. It's going to drive them mad that Tom Brady even decided to come back, if he does come back. Sick Nasty says Brady probably still better than 85% of the QBs in the league. Absolutely, and that's what Davante Adams was saying. He's still extremely smart. He's still extremely savvy. He's still got the arm, I believe. And even if he can't throw quite as far downfield, he's in better shape than he was when he entered the league. He's quicker. He's even timed himself running the 40. He's in tremendous shape. This is a unique individual. And there's no way that he doesn't walk into a Davante Adams and Bowers and Zeus, Zamir White, and a defense with a coach that's got everybody motivated. They solved the quarterback problem by him walking back into the situation here. Then you do see Tom Brady have success. To what end? I don't know. To what end? I don't know. But all I know is it's going to be tough, though. It's going to be extremely tough. Imagining him coming back mid-season or later to the Raiders because the Raiders won't have a good enough record to make it make sense. That's the crutch. If he's coming back, he's got to come back after a 4-1 start or a 5-2 start. He can't come back mid-season. The Raiders will have more losses than they have wins, crossing the 8-9 week mark. You know, A-Rod is talking a lot of shiat to Tom Brady too, says Aldi. This show is great for my insomnia. Thank you, Arthur. Get to work over there trying to destroy another team. Brady not the GOAT talent-wise. Brady not the GOAT talent-wise, says Will. Well, you've gone on 2 laps already on this show, which is a record for this year. 44 minutes, you've gone on 2 laps. I don't know that anybody's gone on 2 laps in 44 minutes so far on a show. Derek actually went on. Did we send Derek on 2 laps already? Derek never goes on laps too. Tonight we struck a nerve with Derek and he wasn't even listening. But But man, I mean, Will, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are we saying? What do you mean, what are we saying? Dial in, that's what I'm saying.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
We got King Carter with the $5 hauler. All super chats will get immediate attention. So drop away your super chats as they roll in. I'll answer them immediately. MHJ, Benson, Murray, McBride, a good stack. Arizona could be high powered. Absolutely. I mean, in best ball, I like it. In non-best ball, it becomes tougher. But the thing that makes a good stack good in non-best ball, let me show you a few things, is you need to be able to plot it out on here and say to yourself, okay, so here are the rounds. We got round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, round 7, round 8. And we say to ourselves, we take MHJ. Let's say you in your mom and pop draft, you get him in the second round. You get McBride, let's say, in the round 5 territory. Okay, so you get McBride. So you're getting MHJ here, so that means you have a bottom of round number 5. I don't know that you can even get McBride here, but you might be able to. So you get McBride. You get Kyler Murray where? 5, 6, it depends. Kyler could go here. So you got Kyler, you got McBride, you get Benson in round 7. So yes, the reason this could work is you still have a first rounder, you still have a third rounder, you still have a fourth rounder, you still have a 8th rounder. You're not contingent on the Cardinals and the Cardinals alone. Where overstacking can be a problem is if your stack involves your first, your second, your fourth, and your 5th rounder. And then if that team does bad, you got no other support. This, you have tremendous support from your round 1, round 3, round 4 players. So it's definitely different, you know, if you're building it that way than if you're building it from a place of taking all of the stack in a very congested high draft capital territory where you have no other support. 201 caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Smitty, it's Antonio calling from Los Angeles.
What's up, Antonio?
And listen, long-time listener, big fan of the show. I don't get people hating on the Brady. I picked him up last year in my my redraft keeper league, last pick, and I felt like if there's a chance, like he's a great guy to just have on the roster. But what do you think this does to guys like Michael Gallup and Jacoby Myers if he does, you know, let's say he signs next week?
Well, so the thing is, though, if Brady were to come back, it's probably not going to be until, you know, into the season. You never know. You never know. But there's so many things involved in this, too. And I know this topic pisses so many people off. It's such a weird topic for people. They just can't wrap their head around it. But, I mean, it improves the value of everybody on the Raiders roster compared to their current ADP. Bowers goes to the moon. Davante Adams goes to the moon. Zeus goes to the moon. The reason Zeus goes to the moon even more than he already is because right now he's going to the moon likely facing a lot of 8-man fronts, bro. Like we're gonna see Zeus do well, but Zeus is gonna be a focal point of defenses. Defenses won't be able to do that on the regular with Tom Brady under center. Tom Brady's quick release, his ability to spread the ball out, the ability for the receivers to go downfield further. Like Adams is going downfield, looking back and seeing his quarterback on his back. And he's wasting all of his breath. Adams is going to be so frustrated this year. You watch the receiver, you realize how mad Adams was about being a Raider. And they did nothing to change his quarterback situation. Nothing. Like he's going to have a horrible, horrible year again. Sum total if they don't do something. So it dramatically changes every single aspect of everything, bro. Tom Brady would be an amazing addition for the Raiders. They got everything they need, but without a quarterback, they're nothing. They're gonna be garbage.
Do you think it's something that happens halfway through or midway through the season?
It has to. I mean, it has to. Like I said, the odds of the Raiders doing well enough for him to want to come back, like they got to be in playoff contention, bro. If they're 2-8, he's not coming back. Why would he do that? But that's the problem. So he's got to come back when they're still, like, if they were to somehow, some way be 5-1, and then he's like, damn it, I'm coming back. But, like, you're expecting AOC or freaking Minshew to carry this team to a 5-1 record? Is possible. I don't think they can do it all year, but could they somehow have a weird beginning to the year where it's like, we've seen teams do this before, teams that shouldn't win start off 4-0. And then they fall apart. Like, you need that kind of situation. You need that kind of situation.
All right.
You know, but that's a very unique, like, setup. He's got to want to come back right away, not wait until midseason. He waits till midseason. There's no opening for it. The Raiders cannot hold on all year long, be 8-4 or something like that. You know, they're not going to be that. The Raiders can't be that. Not with AOC and not with Minshew. Minshew probably won't stay healthy. You know, AOC can't throw touchdowns. There was some hope that he could be pretty good because he was a preseason darling. You know, that first season we got a glimpse.
He's got another year under his belt too, so.
Well, yeah, but
he can take a step. We'll never know.
Maybe, bro. Maybe. I don't know. But what you need is Brady to want to come back immediately after a month of football, and then you have that. But I love that everybody thinks that Brady can't come back. That makes me laugh. All right, bro, call back if you got another one. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Bye.
Yeah, and then I got this next caller, and then I got Bruce on hold. But let me go to the 201 area code. What's your name and where you? I'm sorry, 951. Where are you calling from, and what is your name?
David from Riverside, California.
David from Riverside, California. David, what can I do for you?
Yeah, so I'm a little confused on Vegas having Detroit Lions, one of the top scoring offenses in the league this year. But Jared Goff is such a low-ranked quarterback. He's not even in the top 10, right?
Well, what's the question?
Why aren't people picking him up earlier rounds? What's the reason he's so late in rounds?
Well, I think that he can over-deliver. I think he's not an attractive player to draft. He's kind of not the as people say, the sexy pick. He's the very mundane, boring pick that can flirt with top 7 QB numbers. But he's not going to throw like Dak's going to throw yardage-wise. He's not going to throw touchdowns like Dak's going to throw touchdowns, if you want to give another example of Dak. He's going to be a guy that feeds St. Brown enough. He throws enough yards to keep the ball moving. He's a system quarterback, you know, so he's going to be good enough. He'll have years where, in retrospect, we should have maybe thought of him a little bit higher ranked, you know, like last year was pretty good year, but he's not the kind of guy that's going to consistently be a top 10 fantasy football quarterback when you've got quarterbacks that maybe throw the same amount of yards, but they run for another 507 touchdowns. Like, the running quarterbacks alone almost consume the entire top 5-6 quarterbacks in fantasy football. So Goff's got no room inside that group. And then you've got the remaining 4 or 5 in the second half of the top 10, 12 that are all pretty much fighting every year to be ranked higher than the other. And that's where Goff kind of comes in. Goff's not an attractive fantasy football play, but he gets it done. That's what he does. He hasn't been somebody that anybody's loved from a fantasy perspective. And when he got his extension, most people would tell you, you know, they needed to do it. But like nobody, everybody will replace him with Dak or Burrow or, you know, 8 other quarterbacks, maybe 10. I'd probably take well over 10 quarterbacks over Goff. But Goff is good for the system. He fits. It is what it is.
Right. I'm just because he's got so many weapons. Sam Laporta, he's got Williams, he's got the 2 running backs that could catch. So I mean, he's got potential to get you 30 a game.
Bro, he's a Philly cheesesteak. It's good. It's good. Is it great? Is it better than prime rib or a steak sandwich, or ribs, a rack of ribs? And the answer is no, bro.
That's true.
He
That's
is
true.
a Philly cheesesteak. There's nothing wrong with it, but bro, he's nothing special.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of great
No,
weapons around him.
you know what? You make sense. I like the way you describe. That makes sense with the running quarterback taking the top 5. That makes sense. You know, you're right. You're right.
All right, bro. Call back if you got another one.
Right.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
All right, Bruce, you're live. Brucey.
Hey, Smitty. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You know how I said Saquon's going to finish number 1 yesterday, but because I'm really high on him.
Okay.
Now, if you're really high on a certain player, do you say, you know what, I got to take my chances on him?
So what are you
Like
asking me,
me
bro?
with
What's
Barkley.
going on here today, guys? Ask me the question. What is it you're trying to say, Bruce? Hit me with it.
Like, if you're really high on somebody, right, like I am on Barkley's going to finish 1,
You asked me
should
to
you
reach?
take a chance on him?
Are you trying to ask
Like
me?
in a redraft.
Yeah, are you trying to ask me? Do I give you a hall pass to reach beyond reaching? The answer is no. I think you should take ADP and use it to your advantage and manipulate situation to the best of your ability. Is that what you're asking me? Do I give you permission to take him like at 5 just to get your guy? Is that what you're asking me?
Pretty much.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, something like
No,
that. Like,
no,
If
no.
you know
You don't know.
he ain't going to come back.
No, because look, there are other opportunities. If he was to get snagged, let's say you're drafting 14 or 15 overall. Okay,
Right.
there's no way I'm taking the chance that he gets snagged and grabbing him. Guess who's falling? A plethora of other players. If for some reason he goes out of pocket, you're going to be fine. You're getting one player shoved down into that territory where you're drafting that shouldn't be there. He's got no ADP anywhere near the top like 8 overall, bro. You want to take him at the 12-13 turn, I'm fine with that. But you need to take him as close to like 12 overall as possible. And even that, I'm not taking him 9, I'm not taking him 11. Jahmyr Gibbs is going around there. You know, like, not to mention, if you've got 9 or 10, he's going to fall most likely to that next pick. If he doesn't, you're going to be plenty happy with the players that are there. Not to mention Achane and Kyren are your safety net if you push it and you try and get Saquon at 14. But the closer your 2 picks are together, the more likely you got to let him fall into the second round. But if you've got number 8 overall and you're afraid he won't fall to your second round pick, you just can't take him at 8, bro. Gibbs is there. Bijan falls to 6, 7, 8. Gibbs and Hall fall to 7, 8. No way. No way. And if you're talking about 9, 10, 11, you're so close, I'd take the chance that he flips into one of those other picks in the second round. If he does, I mean, you could go 10, Barkley at 10, and then, you justify with me that the guy you want to take in the second round, you'll get one of these 6 players and you like all of them the same. I guess, Bruce, but I'm not going to condone it. I'm not going to condone taking a second rounder in round 1. I just don't think it's smart business. It doesn't matter. I love Kyren, Bruce. Am I taking Kyren at 5? I'm not. I love Kyren, but I'm not taking him at 5. I don't need to. Do I take Achane in the top 6? No, even though I think he could be top 6. Can't do it. Not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent.
And I got...
All right, actually, okay, hold on 1 second, Bruce. Hold that thought. Let me get these super chats out of the way. MHJ, Benson, Murray, McBride, good stack. I like that. Thank you for dropping this question, King. It's a good topic for sure. Ray G, Arthur Smith wants his lap, Smitty. Ray G wants to send Arthur Smith on a lap. And then the last super chat for the moment, anyway. Justin Rush, I agree. Cards are extremely underrated. Smitty to the moon. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate you. It's definitely an amazing stack, and it's one of the rare stacks, to the point of the other question. It's one of the rare stacks that does not have ramifications of beefing up on all Cardinals. No ramifications. You got a first rounder still, potentially, if you use MHJ as that second round pick. You've got a first rounder still. You've got a third and a fourth rounder still. you're not hampered by the Cardinals having a bad game. You've got very little high draft capital invested in MHJ. And even if the Cardinals have a bad game, MHJ could still have a good game in that bad game, that overall Cardinal bad game. So absolutely love the Cardinals quad. It does not make me run at all, even in non-best ball. But in best ball, I love it even more, especially if you get another quarterback. Like, let me give you an example. In best ball, you take MHJ at the top of round 2. You take Kyler Murray, McBride, and you got Benson, right? Cardinals crap the bed, but MHJ still delivers. He can deliver whenever the Cardinals crap the bed. Cardinals crap the bed. Guess what? In best ball, 1 QB, you draft Jordan Love, Christian Watson, and Jaden Reed. So you got those players as well on top of your Cardinals, on top of your first rounder, on top of your third rounder that we haven't even talked about yet. And now all of a sudden Jordan Love and those 2 wide receivers break off and have big games. Now all of a sudden you're covering yourself with this creative double stack situation. All right, go ahead, Bruce. Appreciate you.
I know that we've been talking about Cooper. What about Jerry Jeudy? What do you think of him this year?
I don't think much of him at all. I think his time to shine is come and gone, bro. I think there's no, this is kind of feels like, in a way, it feels like a Claypool type of situation. Like everyone's very excited about Claypool right now because there's buzz about him, but Jerry Jeudy hasn't delivered in how many years now? The time has come. I think that the odds of him shining, I don't know. Like, would I take a share in very late territory where I feel like there's nothing to risk? Sure, but am I banking on anything? The answer is no. Is he a complete avoid for me? No. You draft Jerry Jeudy, you got him on a couple best ball rosters. I'm sure I've drafted him once or twice. I'm sure I have. Like, I'm okay with that, but I kind of feel like I don't have a lot of shares, which tells me that most likely his ADP's usually higher than I like, and I like other players better. And that's, again, what sometimes the answer to some of these questions that a lot of people ask me day in and day out isn't, hey, Smitty, do you hate this guy or love this guy? Usually it's like, neither, but I just like a handful of players better. That's usually about my answer about 65% of the time to every question that ever gets tossed my way. And I don't just answer it that way, but I'm saying in a nutshell, my answer usually is tied to that thinking. It's not about hating Jerry Jeudy. It's not about hating Amari Cooper. It's not about hating Jalen Waddle at 14 overall. I just like too many amazing amounts of players better at these ADPs. And that is fantasy football in a nutshell.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I had about being scared of losing somebody and Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, don't be scared of losing a player, bro. Every time you're on the clock, try and smash the pick. Try and take the best player available. In Barkley at 7, as much as I love Barkley, he's a freaking Mars man. We've got him on this list right here.
The Saturn Men.
Whoops.
One small step for
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
We got Barkley on the Mars men for a reason.
Loads
But
dropping and spinning aimless.
why is he there, Bruce? Why is he on the Mars man list?
Why is he on there? Because he wasn't treated like in New York, had no offensive line, had no...
Right, well, that's all
nothing to
true. But
help him.
what makes him make the Mars man list? His cost of entry. So if you start manipulating his cost of entry, then my definitions for the players change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to take it like I love JD5. JD5 goes at like 90 overall. If JD5 was being taken in the top 15 overall tomorrow morning, my evaluation of JD5 changes. You know, not saying I'll take him, but I don't know. We'd have to play with that. We'd have to figure out what happened. Did Davante Adams get traded to the Washington Commanders? Why is he going that high? We'd have to investigate a little bit. But you know what I'm saying? So like Barkley, just don't be afraid to take players, but you got to take them in the right territories. If you don't, you're really messing with your own product, bro. You know, that's like buying a house for $300,000 that's worth $250. You know, you're buying a house for that. You know, you do believe it will be worth $300,000 someday, right? But is it still smart?
Right.
Like, you buying Barkley at 8 overall is like buying a $250,000 house for $300,000 just because you think someday it'll be worth that. That's dumb decision making. I'm not saying you're making dumb decisions. I'm saying that is bad management. That is bad allocation of resources. You can't play that game. You play that game for too long, you don't have anything left. And it looks like you have a team that is missing a third-round player.
Okay.
All right, hold on one second,
Yeah,
Bruce.
that's why I come to you with all my fantasy questions.
Attaboy, Brucey. Hold on one second. Stay right there. Blake from Minnesota, you are live, young man.
Yo, what's going on, Smitty?
What's up?
Just popping in the stream right now. I also love Saquon Barkley, and I'd agree that. Wait, were you saying that Saquon's like a little bit of a reach at 8?
Yeah, you can't take him. You can't take him where his ADP isn't even breaching.
Yeah.
You know, like I was telling Bruce, it's like buying just because the house will be $300,000 someday. You can't buy it for $300 when it's appraised at $250. You know, it doesn't make any sense. It's like buying a Marvin Harrison Jr. rookie card for $150 when it's worth $50. And you're like, but someday it'll be worth $300. Okay, great. Good job. Are you going to wait and sit there and wait for it to become $300? And then what? Say you were right? No, you should have bought it for the amount of money that it was selling for. And then when it became $300, you made even more money. Like, you can't draft Saquon Barkley at 7 or 8 overall. He doesn't even sniff that ADP. Now, if he climbs there, it's a whole different discussion. We got to evaluate, why did he climb? Similar to my JD5 example right now. Why did JD5 go from 80 overall to 15 overall? Let's discuss why and see if it's worth it. Who got JJ gets traded to the Washington Commanders. Then we have a conversation. What else you got?
Where would you put Barkley?
Well, I mean, his ADP's all over the map across different drafting applications, you know, and if you're drafting him in a best ball, I'll tell you his ADP right now as of this very freaking moment. His ADP in Underdog 2024 best ball is at mother freaking 20 overall.
Wow. Holy. Okay.
Yeah, so we're talking about 8 overall. You're like, you're not even that's like, you're not even going halfway up. You're going more than halfway up the ADP board. So that's why I'm trying to convince Bruce not to jump off the ledge. You know, but do I think in your mom and pop draft or your work league or your grandma league or the league at your local nursing home, and you're trying to take advantage of all the old people, do I think that we're looking at different ADP data? Yeah, because best ball has a tremendous amount of wide receivers going in the top 25. So we mix in RBs. I bet you Saquon Barkley's non-best ball ADP is probably more around 15, 14 overall, which is acceptable. But if you got a pick that's putting you at 15 or 16 and you're Bruce and you're scared about that, you can't draft Barkley at that corresponding first round pick. It's just way too high. If Bruce was taking him at 11 or 12, 13, because he, you know, that's the latest you can get a, you know, first rounder, is you got the 12 pick, you got the 13 pick. Like, he's forced to take Barkley at 14. I'm fine with that. Or 13. I'm fine with that. You take him as anywhere as your second drafted player, I'm signing off on it. The further down you get him in round 2, the better. The more you package in the risk, the more you package in everything. The injury risk, the situational risk, which I think is more upside than risk. It's a smash, bro. It's an absolute smash. Barkley as a second drafted player, smash. Achane is anywhere in the second round is a smash. I don't care if it's 13 overall. Kyron Williams, anywhere in round 2 is a smash in non-best ball. Anywhere. 13 overall, smash. Non-best ball, take him every time at the 12-13 turn. In best ball, we're trying to take Kyron as late as we can because the entire best ball population is married to wide receiver. Therefore, everyone's borrowing third-round wide receivers and recklessly, stupidly drafting them in round 2, which means Kyren Williams is oftentimes sitting there at 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, and 3.5, and I'm smashing that all day long, and I'm winning leagues off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Kyron's a first-rounder, bro. Plain and simple.
You think so?
What, I think so? You've been watching any of the content, Blake? He's a top 1 to 5 running back. He's a top 1 to 5 running back, Blake. Not 5. Top 1 to 5. He could be the number 1 overall fantasy football running back this year. Easily.
Yeah.
So is he a first rounder? Abso-freaking-lutely. But we're going to smash the hell out of getting him later every time in best ball because of the marriage everybody has to wide receiver, the obsession everybody has to the wide receiver.
Yeah, I would honestly rather. I'm kind of glad Corum went there because now you're getting him in like the end of the second. Like, where would he go if Corum wasn't there? Like, top 5 pick, no doubt. So I mean, now that Corum's there,
Corum is
like,
no
what if
relevant.
Corum isn't something like so huge and Kyron goes back to
Corum was
the big dog.
Corum was the best thing that ever happened to Kyren Williams. The value of Kyren, it's the best thing that ever happened to Kyren Williams' value. All right, hang tight, Blake. Mute yourself if you could. Farb, you're live. What's up, Farb?
What's up, man? How you been? All right?
I'm good, bro.
Good. I was in my one league last year. We had quarterbacks went crazy early. They were on by round 3. So I'm looking like if that happens, like who's the last quarterback? You know, if you feel comfortable drafting JD5 as number 1 and starting, he's your week 1 starter, or who are you pairing him up with?
I mean, you know, looking at just a general ADP, you've got Allen, Hurts, Lamar, Mahomes. This is not my order. This is ADP. Allen, Hurts, Jackson, Mahomes, AR5, CJ Stroud, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels, and Brock Purdy as your top 12. You've got Tua outside of there. You've got Cousins outside of there. I have no qualms whatsoever going JD5, Cousins, and Penix Jr. And don't let anybody tell you something stupid like you can't draft 3 QBs. It's a ridiculous waste of. Not when you're talking about that setup. That setup is critical for you to have Penix Jr. when the time comes and you're not racing to the waiver wire to pick up Penix Jr. But you got JD5 and those 2 quarterbacks. That's fantastic. You got Joe Burrow and JD5. You got Jordan Love and JD5. Quarterbacks may climb, and even Tua, JD5 is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but just because quarterbacks go early doesn't mean you should be following suit. If anything, I'm allowing, when people make it a crazy, over-invested quarterback scenario, and then it triggers it, bro, you're getting Kyren, Achane, and Jamar Chase. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it was a wild run, but
and you do that every time. You give me JD5 and Tua,
no
I'm fine with that. Give me Jordan Love and Tua, I'm fine with that. Give me Cousins, Penix Jr., and Tua. Give me Cousins, Penix Jr., and freaking Kyler. Like, Kyler will fall, and if he doesn't fall, then Burrow will fall. If Burrow doesn't fall, you'll be fine, bro. But don't partake in this over exaggeration of the quarterback value. Even in this coming from an early QB drafter. If we're talking about, you know, round number 3, I'm fine with taking Hurts in 3. That's not early. But if you're telling me people are taking like QB in round 1 and it's a 1 QB and you got like 1 guy going around 1, you got 3 guys going around 2, I'm grabbing Kyren, Achane, Jamar Chase. I'm walking it around 4. I'm playing that by ear. I'm taking McBride or whatever. I'm still playing it by ear. I'm very much okay smashing the hell out of AR5, JD5. AR5 is interesting because I don't know that AR5 will necessarily go as high as these other guys, but we'll see. And he's a top 5 quarterback. AR5 could be the number 1 fantasy football quarterback this year, bro.
I feel that, man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
All right.
I've been listening to the show on Spotify, so I'm tuned in.
Attaboy. All right, later, bro.
Later, man.
Bruce. Final thoughts, Brucey.
You know what? My final thought is just like listen to Smitty and don't overthink about overdrafting like me. And if you want, take shots like you said. Like I took a shot in a best ball draft, but it was in like the 12th round or something like that. I took a shot on Chubb, a chance, not a shot, a chance on Chubb.
Yeah.
The 12th round.
I hear you, broski. All right, hey Bruce, appreciate you. We'll see you probably tonight. I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna try and go live on the Dynasty channel and the main channel. I'm trying to do a draft show and go live. A lot to come. A lot to come. Hopefully tonight. All right, later, Bruce. Appreciate you.
Later.
All right. That's all I'm gonna say about that, Brucey. I think I'm done for this show anyway. Unless somebody wants to call in real quick, final phone call or two. I'm gonna watch this convention stuff right now. Very important time in the world. Everybody should be voting no matter what side you're on. Everybody should be spreading nothing but positivity no matter what side you're on. And people shouldn't be getting angry at people because of where they stand politically. That goes for everybody. But it's important to vote. It's important to partake. It's important to educate yourself. It's important to do what's best for your family. I'm going to be watching everything going on right now. You can get Jordan Love in the 6th and 7th and 8th round, says Allen. It depends on the format. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Appreciate every single one of you. You guys absolutely rock. I wouldn't do what I do if it wasn't for you. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I work for you. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, rain or shine. Pandemic or no pandemic. Rain, thunder, lightning. Doesn't matter. We're here. We're doing it. And we're live most midnights. Where's my thing here? Okay, here we go. So we're live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. We're live whenever. Additionally, live whenever news breaks. We're live most midnights Eastern, and doing it live, doing the drafting as well as conversation and having good conversation. Okay. Here we go. We got Justin with another $10 hauler. Justin to the motherfreaking moon, dropping a 10
to the moon.
10 spot on screen. Appreciate you, Justin. And I think Ray G dropped another super chat as well. Whoops, wrong screen. Let me go back to this one. Put Ray G on this screen as well. What's my system acting up right now? Okay, Justin, $10 hauler. The issue with Jerry Jeudy, in my opinion, is he's at best the third target for possibly a bottom 5 QB. Watson's been so bad. He had 950 plus yards, 6 TDs in 2022. In Denver, his career had been wildly inconsistent too. Yeah, he hasn't. When you don't put it together after a certain amount of time, it's just, it's not somebody you want to bank on, right? Ray G, appreciate you. In my non-best ball contest, Kyron's ADP is higher than Achan's. Do you think Kyron should be going before Achan in non-best ball? I think Kyron should be going in the top 5 overall. You want my honest opinion? Look, I love Achan. Achan's ideally, if I was to tell you where I think he should go, 12-13 turn Achan. I think Achan's a top. I think he's the first, second drafted player you take, 2.1. But you don't need to take him that high if you don't have to. Kyron Williams should be going in the top 5 or 6 overall. Doesn't matter that he isn't. I'm just telling you that's where he should go. That is my pick of the two. If I'm forced to take one of them, is I want Kyron Williams. I want to draft Kyron Williams every single time I'm drafting. Period. And as my second drafted player, it's remarkable. Thank you, D Money. Appreciate you. Ray G, thanks for the $5 hauler. You're the absolute man. We've got celebratory messages. None. We've got gifted memberships. I don't think we had any gifted memberships come in yet. Let me see if I have any. I don't see any yet. But the super chats have been rolling in tonight. New Age Outlaws with the $50 bold prediction hauler. Cheryl with the 10 and then the 5. We got TM42 with the $5 hauler. Adam with the $5 hauler. King with the $5 hauler. Ray G with a 2 and a 5. Justin with a 2 and a 10. King, thank you again for the 5. Adam with the 5, if I didn't mention that. Thank you all for the super chats. You absolutely rock. I'll take 1 or 2 more phone calls. If anybody has another super chat or 2, I'll hit that before I go, especially if you drop it before I hit the end button. Jerry Judy is terrible, says Alan. I agree. D-Money, appreciate you. Robert, appreciate you. Robert to the moon. Thank you, Alan. Alan to the moon. Joe, appreciate you, my guy. Hit that like button that says Joel. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate you. Chuck, you're the man. Chuck is the man with the plan. Ray G, thank you. Let's see here. Smitty, I see you. Thanks. I see you tonight. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate you. And I think that's all she wrote for tonight. No final calls, no final super chats. I'll let the intro linger in case anybody wants to bring the show back for a few minutes. I'll see you all. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Additionally, live whenever news breaks. And additionally, live most midnights, drafting and having conversation about technique, strategy, you name it. I will see you all later. Appreciate every single one of you.